Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Mr. A.
B. Chanel.
Sally Song in the building.
And this is the set 6145. Sorry for the delay, but that seems to happen every once in a while. I'm glad everybody can make it. How's everybody doing tonight?
All right.
All good.
Wonderful.
I'm Gucci.
Everybody in the building. Salute to everybody on YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't just come here for one show and then bounce. This is the podcast where it's about real people telling real stories. It's nothing but positive stories here, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, all right? Salute to the entire XMEN crew that's in the building. And tonight, we got a very special guest, as always. A New York City legend by the name of Ralphy TATU Perez, the Prez and founder of the XMEN crew out of New York City. Now, I don't know, do you guys remember graffiti back? Well, I know you're not going to remember, Chanel.
No.
I remember.
I know what it is.
So, way once upon a time when New York City was still beautiful in its grittiness, I think we could really appreciate that time, breakdancing and graffiti and just everything that was going on back then. Playing outside.
Hello.
Right? Being outside with your friends, going here, going there. It was something that definitely is missing from today's society. Like, kids don't do that, right? So back then, there was a different kind of connection between people, right? So when I think about New York at that time, to make a graffiti crew to this level, to get it where you got it, is something like monumental. And I think a lot of the artists that are still doing work today, because a lot of them have transferred and still getting into graphic design, doing their own clothing line, so on and so forth. I know that this name rings bells, and those people recognize that. So I thought it was important not only to bring Tattoo on the show to talk about that part of his life, but also what he's doing now presently and how he's giving back. So, hey, without further ado, our guest, Tat. And that's how I'm going to call him. How you doing, sir? Pull that mic up to you so everybody can hear you.
What's up, my brother? I'm good, Papi. Thank you for allowing me to share the space with you and be a part of this. So I'm humbled.
Of course.
And I'm appreciative. But all that legend stuff, that's not my style. You know that.
I understand. Josh, just toss him a basketball or something when he hits the table, because it shakes the mics.
My bad.
It's all good. I say that because I remember as a youngster, not because I know you. I remember as a young dude, my block was full, with graffiti writers. So it was something that I grew up around and I understood, guys getting keys to the train, hitting layups, getting chased by work bums. You know what I mean? But I always remember that pilot marker or shoe polish dripped out X-Men being very present in those times. I remember that. So that's when I say legend. When I put this up, a lot of guys that are still from that world in that era took notice. They were like, "Oh shit, Tat." So I say legendary in that sense. It's a respect thing.
I appreciate it.
So Tat, bringing everybody into that moment, because I know you grew up in Brooklyn. Where did this all start for you? Was it something that you just like caught on with your friends, or was it a part of the culture, like you were in breakdancing, whatever the case may be, and that's how it came about? Or was like art has always been a part of who you are?
Well, keep it 100. I always used to love to draw, like look at comic books and try to copy them and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Then hit high school, freshman year of high school. My cousin, Petey's brother, Res, June, went to aviation high school. One day, we both went to parochial school growing up. So we were sheltered pretty much from the streets and things of that nature. Like my mother would always say, don't go to the projects. Don't go past Atlantic Avenue. Stay on the block, on State Street.
Yeah.
So being kind of sheltered from the streets, you get a little older, and like I was a duck. I was a nerd. You know what I'm saying? And then Res comes home, Petey's brother comes home, Junior comes home one day, he's got a marker and he's like, I'm a graffiti writer now. And I'm like, huh? So I was like, all right, I'll be one too. And that's how it started. I'm kind of I'm that dude that when I do something, I go in. No matter what it is. You know what I'm saying? I go hard. And it's something I fell in love with. It's an ego game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I started off as like a really whack writer, a toy. My first tag was
Spit.
yeah, I was worse than spit. My first tag was rap, R-A-P, which is my government initials.
Right.
And then one day, Junior goes, "No, that's taken," so I couldn't do that. My second tag was Scrappy Doo, right, from like
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo, but that was way too long, right? And then I was the asteroid champion of the neighborhood.
Okay.
One quarter, I'd be there for hours. I used to sell ships. Like, yo, give me $4, you get 100 ships. You know what I'm saying? Because you used to get a free one every once in a while. And then that didn't hit off because I was writing Royd, short for asteroid, and then
They were calling you hemorrhoid.
Call me hemorrhoid. then one day in Wyckoff Projects, I'll skip forward a little bit. I started hanging out in the PJs where I was told never to go. The Bonchincheras from, every PJ's got a Bonchinchera, right?
Of course.
The Bonchinchera squad, Bonchinchera squad was sitting in front of the building, and me and the boys were walking by, and I'm, oh my God, se parece TATU, and then all my boys passed out. They were like, the plane, boss, the plane. And then one of my boys, Johnny, Crate, he used to write Crate, C-R-A-T-E. He goes, yo, that's it. Tattoo. But tattoo is T-A-T-T-O, and that's, graffiti writer, a long-ass name back then was not smart. Nowadays, people got these long-ass names, but back then it was like you had 2 letters, 3 letters, 4 letters, 5 letters top, because you got to be in and you got to be out. Yeah. So we floated different names, and I settled on TATU. Now, quick story, moving forward, like 30-something years, one day, we got Google. So I Google definition of TATU, and it turns out that TATU is Samoan, and it means to leave your mark.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah. That is crazy. Holy shit.
Taking it back to the younger days, right? You're not a big, overwhelming, powerful dude looking, right? So were you ever bullied and stuff like that? Or? Did you bully people yourself?
I didn't have, people say, oh, you got a Napoleon complex. I didn't have a Napoleon complex. I usually, ever since I was young, I showed love. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I was raised by my mom. I had no man in my life. It was my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother. I was raised by all women.
Oh, wow.
Right. I never really got bullied because I was also taught by these strong Latin women, strong Boricua queens. Never let anybody take anything from you, not even a paper clip. Right? Because it's not about the amount or whatever it is, it's about the respect. And once you allow that, it's going to continue on forever and ever. So no matter what, you never get scared of any other person because they bleed just like you. You know what I mean? You use your brain. If you feel that you're in a situation that you cannot win, right, that you're really going to get beat up, it's okay to run. But if it's a one-on-one situation, you don't back down. You go for yours, and you take it with a win or a loss, but either way, the next time they're going to think about it. So,
think twice.
So I never really got bullied. You know what I'm saying?
Good.
When did that start to change, like, even more? Because I know moving through the streets, graffiti writing, you're going to get into beef.
Right.
You understand? And you're not, your journey sort of starts in high school. So that transition from being a Catholic school dude and then breaking out of the shell in high school, like, how fast do they change for you in that sense? Because you're entering the whole
times too, and you were sheltered. So
I can dig it. So I started hanging out in the PJs, Wyckoff Projects, Gowanus, Redstone, 79, right? And the reason I got there was because of a little brown-skinned girl. I saw the brown-skinned girl by Abbey Square Mall, and I went, I was gaga, right? So me, being the punk that I was too scared to approach her, so I followed her. And she passed Atlantic Avenue. I was like, oh my God, my mother said never go past Atlantic Avenue, right? And then she got further and further, got close to Wyckoff, and then I chickened out. So, but I would go back every day looking for her, right? And then
as the first stalker.
right.
yeah, the original. And that's how I met a lot of my good friends, because it turned out that she had a boyfriend, and I was in what's that? Colony House. You know what Colony House is?
Yeah.
We was in the schoolyard Colony House. There was a bunch of guys. They was playing softball, and I was there just watching Gugu and Gaga for the little
Over
chick.
the girl.
And then I approached her. Right. Her man was, who turned out to be one of my closest friends. May he rest in peace. Swan. Right. he seen me approach her. He stepped off the baseball field, came to me, and we got it on. We started scrapping. Nobody got no real punches off. It was more of a wrestling match, right? And then his boys were like, they broke it up, and they were like, yo, he ain't doing nothing wrong. He ain't know. He's just doing what you would do. You know what I'm saying? And then right there and then, I met my core X-Men crew.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? And we became my best friends, loves of my life, my brothers, my sisters, from Diz 1, Science, PH, Crate, Bale, Toro 2, Chiz, may he rest in peace, and there's a whole lot of them. And I gravitated toward them because they looked like me. They didn't sound like me in a sense. I didn't sound better, but I was like I said, I went to Catholic school. My vocabulary was not street prolific yet. Right. But they look like me. I never hung out with kids that look like me. Okay. And I love everybody. The only colors I see is the colors that we paint on the wall. You feel what I'm saying? But I love everybody because that's how I was raised. But for the first time in my life, I had browns and black people that I could relate to.
That's something that's very,
You know? So I gravitated towards that. And in a sense, the kids that I also grew up with, PD, June, Aram, you know, Aram Reyes, Adam. You know, our crew from State Street was like, yo, he was like a melting pot, bro.
It was the United Nations.
United Nations. We had every color underneath the sun there. American Indians, Japanese, Chinese, Jewish, every color. I introduced them to them, and through the grace of God, we all got together. You know what I'm saying? And little by little, the X-Men crew started. You know, I can give you the exact detail when it started, if you ever want, right?
So what does that look like? Because that's something that's not a thing these days.
Right.
So what does that look like? What is your crew? What were you guys doing in those early days?
So it started mainly through graffiti, right? So I'm sitting in my bedroom, myself, Petey's brother, I keep saying Petey's brother, June, June, right? Aram, Reyes, right? And a kid from Queens. His name was Ernie, but he wrote Too Bad.
Okay.
He was like already into the scene.
Okay.
And he was known. And he went to school with June. Okay. And we were sitting there, and he brought him over to the neighborhood, and we were sitting there talking. And so when you first start off graffiti, like, you're not good. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're that you know what I'm saying? You're whack. You're a toy. And I was trying to put the work in, and I was getting my ups and my licks, but I wasn't good. And any crew that I tried to get down with, they denied me. So me being me, I was like, fuck all y'all niggas. Excuse my words. Can I use the N-word? Because
you can use every word in the book.
Don't take it personal, but that's like, listen.
That's universal.
So right there in my bedroom on Nevins Street, Nevins and Livingston Street.
Oh, wow.
I said, I'm starting my own crew, right? And on my desk, there was a pile of X-Men comic books, right? And I said, it's going to be called the X-Men Crew. Because if you notice in graffiti, a lot of the crews have like initials, right? But I wanted my crew to sound like the New York Yankees. You know what I'm saying? The X-Men, right? I said, I'm going to name it the X-Men, and I'm going to, Too Bad, you could be the vice president. That was a strategic move, even though it should have been June or Reyes. But me, I was thinking strategic, like he's known.
Yeah. He's established.
Yeah. So, but he didn't take it seriously. He was like, yeah, all right. You know, like he's a little toy. Yeah. And with me, Aram, and June, we put the work in. And then June fell off a little bit because he got a little shook. Keep it 100. Hope you're not mad, June, but I'm going to keep it 100. He got shook one day because we got raided and we had to sleep underneath a train all night long. And the funny part is his dad worked for the MTA. He worked in the yards, and he was there. And he was like, I can't get caught. I can't get caught. And yo, we literally fell asleep underneath a train.
In the middle area?
Yeah, in the middle underneath the train.
How did the work bums find you?
They didn't find us. I've never got arrested for graffiti, ever.
I'm going to tell you why they didn't find you. Because y'all three motherfuckers are all little.
Yeah,
Aram and June are all short dudes.
We was mad little. We fell asleep there after hours of them going around. And then, so June fell off a little bit. But me and Aram kept going in and putting in the work. And then, so my thing was, my mother always taught me, and my grandmother always taught me, to show love to everybody, no matter who they are, where they come from, what they are. You know what I mean? So my thing was reaching out to other kids, meeting other writers that they didn't have to be, you know, the bomb. They didn't have to be crazy nice. They just, you know, they were just like me.
Eager.
So I reached out. A lot of kids would come up, and I'm like, you're not down with no crew? Nah, nobody want to put me down. You down with me, Papa? Come on, let's get it. And when you show love and you give encouragement, and you give them support, people blossom. And some of the best graffiti writers that are out now had blossomed from not being put down in the beginning. So it started right there, and in 29th Street. And then like maybe about a year after that is when I did that transition past Atlantic Avenue to Wyckoff Project, chasing the little dark-skinned girl, where I met the rest of the crew. And they were like, that's you? But then they made fun of me because my style was whack and all that. And they're the ones that put me on. They hooked up my marker. They gave it a makeover because my shit was dry.
Yeah. You had to get the drip.
Yeah, they showed me about all that. You know what I'm saying? And then they showed me the bombings and all that because I was just doing motion tags, which if nobody knows what a motion tag is when you actually ride the train, and while the train is going from stop to stop and bouncing all around, you're taking tags.
Yeah.
And you can't get the best tag doing a motion tag. They showed me my first layups, my first yards. They gave me my first keys. And when I told them about XMEN, they were like, yo, we seen it, but you know what? All right, let's rock. We're going to rock with you. You know what I'm saying? And then we started bombing out. And before you know it, we met a whole bunch. I met a whole bunch of kids all around the city that were bombing, but not getting the recognition that they wanted. So our thing was like, this is not a me thing. This is a we thing. There's times that we would go out and just bomb, and like the rule was, tonight nobody puts up their tag. All you do is put up XMEN. It's not about you.
It's promotion. You're also promoting
It's about
yourself.
the crew.
It's about the crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, not about just yourself. It's about the crew. Certain nights we'll go out and just bomb our tags and the crew. Tonight we're going bombing, maybe streets, maybe layups, maybe tunnels, just XMEN. And before you know it, like
Very strategic.
XMEN was like a household name.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? It was
TATU,
all over the city.
Can I ask you
sir.
a question? Sorry to cut you off. So can you walk us through, like you're saying, layups, bombing? Can you just give us a brief definition of each thing?
All right.
And you guys getting caught under the train, almost getting caught. Like, how does that night? Like, what are you planning? Like, how does that plan work? You know what I mean? Like 4 in the morning, we're going here. You know, like how does that work?
All right, so
Hold on a second. I don't mean to interrupt. I am hearing somebody that's asleep in this room because all I hear is somebody breathing. Is it me?
it might be me.
It might be me.
It might be me. I breathe heavy.
All right, no. Go ahead. Let's
I got a little lungs, so I got to.
They got little lungs.
All right, so the question was,
Layups.
break it down. All right, so a layup is when, if you ever notice, before and after rush hours, and not prime time when the trains are running, you might pass a tunnel and you see trains parked inside a tunnel. Instead of saying parked, they were laid up. So we would go into the tunnel and hit those layups on certain, because we had a schedule. You know, bombing is just the act of going out and putting your tag everywhere, literally throwing a bomb of graffiti. All right, the yards. All right, so the XMEN, we weren't better than nobody, but we were a bunch of. Remember what I told you? I was a nerd. I was pretty smart, and I went to Brooklyn Tech High School. Right. Back then, it was the top 3 high schools, and I think it still is.
Yeah.
A lot of XMEN in Brooklyn Tech. Yo, City Sid, Mark Vigo, what's up, brother? I love you. You know what I'm saying? You got Khan, you got Ernesto, whole bunch of them there. I hooked up with a bunch of kids from Brooklyn Tech. So these are a bunch of street kids that are smart, right? And my brother So, who one day became the vice pres, right? We would go to the tunnels and to the layups and to the yards with, like, if we was going out dancing. And every spot that we hit, we had a stash where, like in the Dewey Yard, outside the Dewey Yard, in a lot, we had a hole that inside the hole was paint, ink, gloves, coveralls, all that. And the basis was that because if you look like a writer, you're going to get stopped.
Yeah, of course.
We would go into the yards, right, with coveralls, gloves, all that, and come out with spotless.
Look like you're going to Sweet 16.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of times we would go bombing, then go to the club. You know what I'm saying? So we were smart like that. I know what it is to leave the Dewey Yard, hit the whole yard, and then go outside the fence again, hit the hole, take the coveralls off. We had the Gugan, that Gugan and all that.
Oh, okay.
The Gugan, we had to take the latex gloves off, clean ourselves up with wipes, all that, and then hit the train station looking like we're going out. Like, cops will pass us like,
Nothing.
it's not them. And a lot of times they know when you hit the yard because you can smell the paint, you can smell the ink, and they're looking. right?
Yeah.
So the cops are on alert. We're walking down the block looking like Saturday Night Fever, like we're going to the club, staying alive. And like I said, I can talk for myself. I have never been arrested for graffiti ever.
Wow.
And at one point, the X-Men had every single train in the MTA system, at least with one X-Men tag or X-Men member on their inside the train with saying their tag and X-Men. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Those were very good times back then.
great time.
Things were different.
Things were beautiful.
So now let's fast forward a little bit. At what point do you start to realize, like, yo, I love doing this, but now I gotta like grow up a little bit. I gotta start.
All right, so keep it 100, and I always try to keep it 100, right? I didn't grow up. What happened was graffiti was my gateway crime,
Okay.
right? And then here I am. I'm 5'2". The president of the world. Well, right now it's the world's
Yeah,
biggest
right
graffiti
now
crew,
it's
and
worldwide.
then it was the biggest graffiti crew in New York City.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we had the X-Men had a saying, people don't go over us. No, how do we say the X-Men don't go over people, they go under us. You know what I'm saying? And anyway we went, like I'm talking about, we had 200 members in New York City. It was like, can you dig it? You feel what I'm saying? We would have parties every weekend where hundreds of people would come, either trying to get down with us or just to hang with us, right? And anywhere we went, we were 30, 40 deep, you know? From a club to a house party, whatever. And then at the same time, we had different factions at different high schools and different neighborhoods. We can go to any part of the city and we would have a crew waiting for us that was
Wow.
part of the crew. So moving forward, and the question you asked, when did you decide that you grow up? I'm gonna keep it a buck, right? I've made a lot of stupid decisions, right? I never got arrested for graffiti, but I got arrested for other things, right? I made a lot of stupid decisions as a young man, trying to be a part of, trying to prove I'm 5'4" when I'm really 5'2", right? And like I say, everything happens for a reason. What don't kill you makes you stronger. It's not how you fall off the horse, it's how you get back on the horse, right? But you asked me, when did you stop doing graffiti and you grew up? I stopped doing graffiti and graduated into bigger and better crimes. Not better, but bigger and more high escalated crimes.
Yeah.
From, statute of limitations is up and there's no murder that I'm gonna talk about on it, right?
No, we're not. No.
Nope.
No, we're not.
But I went from selling drugs, you know what I'm saying, decent amount of drugs and things like that, and doing all kinds of things I'm not
Street
proud
shit.
of, street shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stick up kid, all that.
Right.
And then I became my best customer, which came from a lot of insecurities, a lot of sadness, and like I said, I went to an all-white school.
Right.
There was only 2 Puerto Ricans in the school, 1 black kid in the school. You know what I'm saying? And I went through a lot there.
Unresolved things.
Yeah.
What do we call it?
Trauma.
Vicarious trauma.
Okay.
Okay. That I've never resolved. I was sexually abused as a little boy by my babysitter at 6 years old for a year by him and his girlfriend, right? And it was a horrible thing. They would force me to do things to both of them while they had a German Shepherd security trained dog on me, and that was bigger than me. Real craziness. You know what I'm saying? So I had a lot of stuff inside of me that was built up
Boiling.
that I didn't know how to express. And the person that did that with his girlfriend to me was my mother's best friend's son. Somebody who I used to look up to on State Street, right? That I would call my big brother.
Wow.
You dig what I'm saying? And like, it took me a long time to get raps on that it wasn't my fault,
Right.
right? That it was pressed upon me. The nightmares of all that, I don't have to deal with that no more. And the way I dealt with that was through poetry.
Okay.
Like I went to an open mic one day. Shout out to Copy Cool Culture.
Yeah. So copy cool.
Copy Cool opened me up to some therapy.
Right.
Writing, I saw people and heard people that looked like me, sounded like me, doing things that I knew what rap was, but this was different.
Right.
So I was like, I want to do that too. And I started writing, and my first poem was about that experience.
Wow.
And literally, like, I was this New Jack poet, and people are literally sitting in the audience or standing in the audience crying.
They wasn't doing this.
No, they were literally crying
Yeah.
because, not because of what happened to me, because it happened to
It's
them.
relatable.
Right.
And
It's real shit.
some of my closest friends and my sister Maisha, if you're out there, I love you. I met my sister from another mister, one of my closest best friends. I mean, I'll die for her. I met her there. And she came up to me and she gave me like mad props and hugs, like that's so powerful and you like and brave to do.
Courage.
Right. But I mean, I've always been the one, I keep it 100 and I'm still am. I don't give a fuck what you think about me.
Right.
Real talk. At the end of the day, it's what I think about myself, how I look in front of my God, right? And I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm a mama's boy. What my mama thinks about me. You know what I'm saying? And that's another issue when it comes to that. But so I elevated into other crimes. I started getting high on my own supply. You know, straight New Jack City, right? And it brought me to a lot of dark places. You know what I'm saying? And I did my treatment. I did my time, and I'm here today. And not to say that I've had some stumbles or had some
Of course.
setbacks, because as you go through life, you acquire more vicarious trauma. That if you don't deal with it or know how to deal with it, it's gonna pile up,
And it'll come back on
right?
you.
And it'll come back on you. So I keep it 100. I had some that new stuff that I didn't deal with, and it came back on me, and it's all good. Like I tell everybody, it's not how you fall off the horse; it's how you get back on the horse. You know what I'm saying? And what don't kill you makes you stronger. And if you worry about what everybody else thinks, then you know what? You're soft, right? Start worrying about what you think and what your inner circle thinks, if it's even that, because my inner circle don't judge. Because if you judge, you don't matter. And if you matter, you don't judge.
Right.
My inner circle, I've always kept it 100. Maybe with whatever I'm doing, with politicians, whatever, they know who I am. They can't come back and say, well, I was like, nah, son, you knew that already.
Everything's out there.
Right.
Everything's out there. So if you put what's out there and not ashamed of yourself, and I'm not proud of a lot of things, but I ain't ashamed of it either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. It happened. It's transpired. It's the man who I am today and the man who I can wake up to be tomorrow. Because, thank God, you know what? I'm not the man at times that I could be, and I'm not the man at times that I should be, but thank God I'm not the man that I used to be. Feel me?
I hear you.
Now you were hanging, you said 30, 40 deep all the time, right? When you got in trouble, were you, like, did they try to put RICO on you or anything? Like you, XMEN is a gang or?
Well, X-Men kind of morphed or transformed to not just a graffiti crew, but really into like a subculture.
Right.
Of a hip hop subculture. We had
Yes.
B-boys, we had DJs.
Oh.
we have no sound, and that's fine.
They didn't pay the bill.
We need a better DJ. No, I'm just playing. He's doing a great job. We had DJs, we had breakdancers, right? We had rappers. You know what I'm saying? And all under the guise of just wanting to be part of, because like I can't talk for nobody. I can only talk for me. But when you're out there alone, sometimes you want to be part of something bigger. You dig what I'm saying?
Everybody does, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to be a part of something bigger that supports you, that loves on you, and that helps you grow. May it be in a positive light or negative light. It's something that you're a part of.
Right.
That's why gangs are so prevalent. Kids because at home, it starts at home. What happened for me at home? Like I said, the abuse. I was a fatherless child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No dad at home. And every time I seen somebody with their dad and going to an all-Caucasian school, parochial school,
That was almost everybody.
Yeah, on the field trips, dad was there.
Yeah.
Who was there for me? Mom, Dukes.
Yeah,
And that's my love, you know what I'm saying? But it's not the same.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
So I gravitated to older men in the streets that were not about, then I thought they were the shit and they were the bomb, but older guys that were doing the wrong thing, and now I look back, I was being used.
Right.
I was being abused in the sense of like, yeah, shorty, hold
this down.
Hold this down.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Like, like you get caught, don't worry. You 14, you 12. You know what I'm saying? Like,
ain't shit gonna happen to you.
ain't shit gonna happen to you, right? So so to keep it short, when you asked me about growing up, I didn't become a man to what I feel is a man till, let's say, I'm 35.
Wow.
And that's just me. That's just for me.
Right,
I mean,
right.
just because I got a penis makes me a male.
Right.
But a man is a different thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of guys out there, and if you don't like what I'm saying, well, I don't give a fuck. Look, there's a lot of guys out there that just think with one head and do stupid shit, and it's just about getting over. Like, listen, I ain't Rockefeller. I'm the other fella, but I'm good. Feel me?
Right.
And I like to take my shit like this, not behind my back. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how
I
it
got
gets
you.
down. and I keeps it 100. That's why I'm able to talk freely about my
Your past.
mishaps in the past.
Yeah.
Because all I see is these shorties nowadays going through the same thing and not knowing how to express themselves.
I'm glad you said that. I want to talk about that now. I think being able to express yourself the way that you have and put all these things on the table is amazing, and you can see that you've sort of evolved from the person that has gone through all these tribulations, and you still had a firm understanding of what you really wanted to do with your life, because you immediately started working with the youth, which I thought was incredible. And I think it's key to sort of who you are and what you've done up until this point.
Yeah.
So, right?
Yeah. I had a question kind of because it's still around, the X-Men. So, and you said it's transitioned and it's transformed to all these different things. Where is it now from where it was?
Can I show Christian?
Yeah, it's there. It's in there.
It's actually in the shot.
Yeah.
You want to hold it.
I want to hold it. All right? Look, before there was Wakanda, there was the X-Men. You feel me? And we were doing this since
Yeah,
1979.
back then. Yeah.
So Wakanda forever, but X-Men for life. You feel me? The X-Men where it's now, well, about 12 years ago, may he rest in peace, one of my closest X-Men brothers, Angel Duster, right? He was killed during a graffiti beef. And
He was actually killed for graffiti beef?
yeah, three people ran up on him over some graffiti nonsense, which now I look at like it was real nonsense. He's lost his life over graffiti. He was alone, and he passed. He got killed.
Wow.
Now, if you fast forward 30 years later, his nephew, who's also dead, may he rest in peace,
Wow.
little AD, I didn't even know him, was trying to take up his uncle's, his famous, because AD did his thing. He bombed.
Yeah.
And cool Angel Duster. He wanted to be like his uncle. He wanted to be X-Men. So he started bombing. He was getting arrested every other day. And to the point that the Vandal Squad and the cops were parked in front of his house. He was putting in work.
You're not good at this.
Yeah. Take a hint.
He was putting in work, but he was getting caught. So you're not good at it.
Yeah.
So he was on probation. So his sister reached out to me. AD's sister reached out to me. His mom reached out to me out of Sky Blue. I remember when she was a little girl. And she's, "Hi, Tat, it's me, Rebecca. I got your number from somebody on Facebook. I hope you don't mind." I was like, "I remember you, Becky. What's good?" And she told me the story of little AD. She said, "What can you do with him?" So I said, "Let me talk to him." So I met up with him, and I made a promise to him. I said, "You're going to stop doing illegal graffiti. You're going to hang with me every weekend. You're going to meet the legends that you read about, that you look up to, and you're going to learn how to paint responsibly. You're going to hold my paint. You're going to fill in what the colors I tell you to fill in. You're my little slacky. You hear me?"
Yeah.
Apprentice.
Right. And if you're good with that, right? If you're good with that, you let me know. But there's rules to this shit. He was like, "What? You got to go to school. You got to stop writing illegal graffiti, and you got to respect your mother. If I get one bad report from any three of those departments, it's a dub, son. You dead to me." You know what I'm saying? We family by paint and ink, but you're gonna be dead to me because I can't have you out there jeopardizing your future, because the last thing you want to do is go to jail. I'm talking about, "Yeah, nigga, I'm in here for writing on the wall. You're gonna be somebody's bitch." You feel what I'm saying? So he promised me, hey, he would, and he did. He kept his promise.
Wow.
The probation department saw the change. His probation officer saw the change in him, and it was like, "What happened to you?" She asked him, and she said, "The X-Men, TATU. That's my big bro. That's my teacher, my mentor." And I'm like, she said, "Can I meet him?" And he asked me, "Can you come meet my probation officer?" I said, "Sure." And I sat down with this woman, Suki. If you're out there, P.O. Suki, because love you, right? Her name is Suki, P.O. Suki. She's the best in the world. She sat me down and said, "What you do to him?" And I told her the story. She said, "Can you do that with other kids?" And I was like, "If you give me the kids, I could try."
Yeah.
A year passes by, or no, a couple months passed by. They said, "Set up a proposal, like a plan." And I came up with a plan on how to teach. It's called Paint Straight.
Yeah.
right? And Paint Straight is a spinoff of Scared Straight.
Right,
If you know what Scared Straight is
Everybody knows.
right?
Yeah.
But my thing was about graffiti and the way I would talk to the kids. And at the beginning, people were like, "Oh no, oh," but I was talking to them the way they talk to themselves.
You might get banned now. Paint Straight. You might offend people.
Yeah, but you stupid. At first, it was
Yeah.
Paint Correct.
Yeah.
And I would talk to them the way they talk to themselves. I knew the lingo about graffiti, and what they did was at that time, 12 years ago, graffiti was rampant in New York City, and there was hundreds of kids on probation
Because of graffiti.
for graffiti. So I came up with a lesson plan, Scared Straight, and I broke it down to them how I would do it. And they said, oh, cool, let us think about it. A year later, they hit me back, and they're like, hey, are you ready to do that? I'm like, it's a year
It's
later.
been a
nigga.
fucking year. What the fuck has been taking y'all so long?
But I was like, cool. This is what I need. Blah 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 blah. There was no money involved for me personally,
Right.
but I did need supplies
Yeah.
and the audience. So we started in Brooklyn on J Street. I would meet with the kids. I would take off from my regular job. I wasn't getting paid for it. Take off 3 hours early on Wednesdays. Go there and meet with 10 kids that were on probation for graffiti. Did a 8-week, 10-week cycle with them and taught them about the history of graffiti, the culture, the correct way to do graffiti, but not illegally.
Right.
And that you could use that power that you have, that talent that you have, and that drive that you have, that you go out there every day to write your name all over the place into something positive. And I would talk to them like the way me and you talk when we off air. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
you make it relatable.
right straight up. And when they acted up, like, yo, I smacked the little shit out of you, bro. Right? And they'd be like, P.O., look how he's talking to me. And they would P.O. would turn that back. I'm like, he ain't say nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
This
saying?
Paint Straight. You know what you signed up for?
Yeah, it's Paint Straight, little nigga. Right? But it gained their respect, not out of fear, out of respect and love, because I would tell them, like, look, shut the fuck up.
You wasn't trying to run
Like, shut the
game.
fuck up. You can get the fuck out, or you can sit there, listen to what the fuck I'm telling you, and then I'm going to teach you how to do this shit the right way. Because
Right.
I've been doing this shit before you was a sperm cell, son. You know what I'm saying? Before you was a wet dream, papa. And then a lot of them, they did their research. It was like, yo, that's him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
They had Google.
And so move fast forward, I did it for a year. And I worked with 110 kids. Out of 110 kids, right? Only 3 got rearrested for graffiti.
Out of 110.
Right.
Jeez.
Out of 110 kids. So now people are taking notice, and I turned Paint Straight into a nonprofit organization because I would hold every 3 months, I would hold finales, is what I call it, where the kids would showcase their work they did during the program, and they would get the accolades and props, and we had rappers come out and do all kind of stuff and hold it in places. The first one we held was in a courtroom where most of them were like
Arrested.
sentenced and arrested.
Yeah.
It was there, and News One came out. And then we did a few more, and then we did one at the New Yorican Poets Cafe.
Nice.
Right? And the commissioner of probation came out. The commissioner at that time
Right.
came out, and the news came out. A bunch of different news people came out, and they were like, it was all over the news, like, hey, Paint Straight, teaching kids how to paint correct. You know what I'm saying? And then the news came out, and here's the commissioner at the time, got his arm around me. He's like, yeah, our program. I'm like, nigga. I'm looking at this dude.
You start talking French?
Yeah, but, I'm just letting them talk, let them rock.
Yeah.
So then we were still only doing it out of Brooklyn. So the newscaster said, so if it's such a strong program and it's effective, successful with the kids, your recidivism rate is amazing, how come it's not in all the boroughs? And then that's when I jumped in. Well, the commissioner we were speaking earlier, he's going to send me a proposal so we can spread it out through the whole city, because we're just trying to do the best we can with the little bit that we got.
The
But it's
limited
really,
funding.
Yeah, it's really hard right now. So we're going to talk about funding and all that. And he was like, and they said, Commissioner, and he was like,
What
he looked at me. He looked at me. He
What
was
he
like,
said?
the face. He was like,
got
that
me.
little motherfucker.
Yeah, he got me.
Yeah,
Now
That
I
Catholic
was like,
school education came in handy.
I was
right
like,
there.
checkmate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, but lo and behold, 6 weeks later, I got the email with starting off with a $100,000 contract with New York City to do Paint Straight.
Wow.
And that's how it started. And then the XMEN crew turned from a graffiti crew, an illegal graffiti crew, and there's still people out there doing their thing. I'm not going to front, but we turned it into XMENTAL. because
Right.
I couldn't use X-Men because I learned from.
Copyright.
I don't know if you ever heard. Remember the DJs called the X-Men back in the day? Then they changed their names all of a sudden to executioners, right? Because they got sued.
Yeah, copyright.
And the X-Men
Cease and
DJs,
desist.
yeah,
the X-Men DJs were XMEN CREW.
yeah.
So
Licensing,
I learned,
trademark,
I
all
learned
that.
from them, and I was like, Then my boy and my brother from another Bane, Seek One, Tony, was good, Papa? I know you out there. He said, yo, Tat, I'm feeling real X-mental today. Because he's really good with the words. Like we all got G, you know what I'm saying? But he's like,
Slick
he's
with
from the Lower East Side, you know? And I'm like, X-mental. I was like, boom.
That's it.
X-Men is in there, and then told they can't sue me.
Right.
Right? I copyrighted it. And then X-mental, our slogan was, when you think of X-mental, when you think of mental, you think of crazy. But when you
Right.
think of X-mental, you're not crazy no more.
Right.
You're X-crazy. You
You're
feel me?
X-crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, so he came up with the name. The logo, I should have wore X-Men shirt, X-mental shirt. I wore a Paint Louis shirt. Keo X-Men, he came up with the logo. And we put in, I got somebody to help me out with all the legal paperwork and all that. We became an official 501c3,
Nice.
and then been rocking. Now X-Mental right now is on hiatus. I'll keep it a buck. I fucked that bag up. Right? And not in the sense of something dirty and
No,
nasty,
right.
but personal shit.
Right, personal.
Personal shit. It is what it is. And for everybody who's talking shit, fuck off. Right?
Where we at now with it, Tat?
Yeah, where we at now with it, right?
Yeah.
We still do stuff with the community.
Josh, you want to tell them to stop
right?
banging the table?
I keep banging the table. I'm very.
You hype, bro. You
I'm
animated.
always animated.
Always
bro. You
been
know
like that.
Always been like that. Like you want to break dance right now? We could do that, son. But where I'm at right now with the community. So pandemic shut a lot of things down, and I was actually offered come back no matter what, because no, I always kept it 100 with everybody, like
Yeah.
about my past, who I am, who I was, because that's the only way I learned. When a nigga kept it 100 with me when I was a shorty, like I listened, but when he came with all this rhetoric and all this bullshit, and you can see like game recognizes game,
Yeah.
especially the youth, they'll see right through you.
Yeah.
So I kept it a buck, right? And the kids always respected me for that. You know what I'm saying? And their parents, and the politicians, and they're never. If you keep it a buck, y'all, nobody can ever come back and call you a liar or say you full of shit.
Yeah.
You're who you are, and if they accept you for who you are, then you Gucci. But if you come back, you start faking the front like motherfuckers do nowadays, putting selfies of clothes that they still got the tag on and return them shits, right? Stop faking the funk, living your best life, hashtag whatever, right?
Do it for the gram.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
For the gram, son. Fuck the gram. Keep it 100, right? And when you fall, you dust yourself up, you get back on your horse, and you start riding away into the sunset. And there's no mistakes. Everything's a lesson. Life is a fucking lesson. Mistakes are not mistakes. Those are lessons. And if you can't learn from the lesson, then you need to find some help, right? Because there's mental health is real, right? And we all have our issues.
Right.
Nobody is perfect. We all got something in there.
I want to ask you about that.
And I want to take it back real quick because he said something like 110 and 3 only got
Yeah.
right.
The recidivism rate.
And we talk about jail reform and things, and you know what I mean, of that nature. So those are things that are important, like that right? They should look into like helping these
right.
inmates and stuff.
Yeah, so
Well, we know why they don't want to do that because a successful program like that means no more customers.
right. Hello.
If all the drug addicts aren't around them, all the drug dealers don't make money.
Cutting
They
off
don't
the
want that
supply
shit.
chain.
Yeah,
Cops
exactly.
Can't chase them.
Yeah,
No overtime.
they'd be sleeping under the train. They can't be found.
Right. So
So you were saying something.
Yeah, but Tat, I want to ask you because you've touched on this. It's become a theme, so to speak, in the exchange. How important to you was your X-Men family when you had these missteps in your life? Because we all need support, and you only really know who the fuck people are when you on the ground. Because when you're fucked up, that's when you really see who the fuck who's with you and who's not with you.
right.
So how was the get back for you? Like, did you have the love and support? Were your brothers there for you and like telling you like, yo, Tat, we here, we got you.
Right. All right. So to keep it 100,
Pull the whole mic towards you. There you go.
pause.
Oh,
Nah, son. what do you call it? Keep it 100.
Yeah.
And for all you out there, I don't have to name names,
Yeah.
who talk shit and all that, because they like to see a brother down, fuck you, right? For all the rest of my X-Men family, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot. Like, I'm going to keep it 100. I got over 300 letters of support from all around the world helping me fight a case, right? Because
Wow.
I had gotten incarcerated,
Yeah.
right? After doing abundance of beautiful work, after being New York of the Week, after being on Nickelodeon, after doing all kinds of concerts and stuff like that,
Right.
I went through some mental turmoil.
Right.
I didn't know how to cope with it, or rather, I did know how to cope with it. I just chose, if I look back now and keep it 100, I just chose the easy way out.
Self-medicating.
Right. And it's all good. You know what I'm saying? And we're talking about years already. It's been years. It's over 8 years. But in that transition, which was literally overnight, right? I did a lot of stupid shit, right? When I was going through that turmoil that I didn't want to deal with, and it was all internal. Instead of looking for therapy or help in some way, I chose the easy way out. A lot of people were talking shit. Fuck off. A lot of people were kind of fell back a little bit.
Stand off.
Right? Didn't talk shit, but like, nah, I ain't got nothing to say about that right there. That, all I got is love for him. All I could do is pray for him. And then a plethora and abundance, right? Well, how many more adjectives can I use, right? Supported me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was literally like a kind of movie to the point that was like, motherfuckers was like, free tat, free tat. You dig what I'm saying? And
Wow.
a stack of letters like this. Thank you, Maisha, and everybody that wrote a letter. If you're listening, you're here, right? Love you guys. And your letters, I have them still till today. And when I eventually get to finish writing a book that I started a long time ago, but maybe I didn't finish it because the last chapter wasn't written,
Right.
right? And I think it is now. But thank you, and I appreciate you, and I love you guys. And I'm not just talking about in New York. I'm talking about all around the country and all around the world.
Singapore.
Everywhere, my nigga.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
What advice would you give the youth now? Like you said, you didn't deal with it, and what would you, how can somebody deal with it? Like, what would you tell them?
Well, like I said earlier, the first thing that you need to be a man or a woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because you got a dick or a pussy just makes you a part of the species.
Right.
But to be spiritually, and this is just for me,
Right.
right? Don't worry about what other people think. That kills everything. That's like that's why the social media and kids are doing things just so people can like them. First, learn how to like yourself. If you can like yourself, if you can wake up in the mirror and look in the mirror and say, I love you to yourself, then you're on the right path. Right. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Do the right thing every day. Just do the right thing. Because bad things, you'll meet that chick Karma, she's a bitch. You feel me? But when you can wake up in the morning and just know that you did the right thing the day before, and today I'm going to do the right thing again, right? And I'm talking about even from the little things, even from like walking down the block and throwing something on the street, throw it in the garbage can. Like little things. That's me.
Even
you know
when
what I'm
nobody's
saying?
watching.
Huh?
Even when there's not a camera and even nobody's watching.
You got it, man. You got it. Even when nobody's watching, right? Because you're watching, right? And
That's how you know it's
Integrity.
genuine.
integrity, right? That's the adjective, son.
I didn't go
Sister
to
Mary,
Catholic school.
Sister Mary Joseph vocabulary.
I didn't go to Catholic school either.
We was in public school.
Right. So integrity, and then what I've learned in my journey of becoming a man is acceptance.
Right.
Acceptance of self,
Right.
and acceptance of other people, and not just following the crowd. When just because this guy got a goofy haircut, so fucking what?
Yeah.
There was no reason to make fun of him, judge him. Like, I try not to judge anybody, right? And at times we all do it. I mean, I can,
Right.
like, even just by saying, oh, that shit looks whack, that's a judgment.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's human
But-
nature.
Yeah, exactly. But to the point that you're just a judgmental person in overall,
Yeah.
right? Just accept people. I've learned how to understand that if I fucks with you, I fucks with you. And if, you know what, there's something about you that I might, inside, I'm like,
Se me cae mal.
right, exactly. Se me cae mal. Cógelo con take it easy. Fall
stay
back.
over there.
But doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means you're different from me.
You're not vibing.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
we're not vibing. So, stick with what you know. So like I meet a lot of people who like I know I really can't fuck with, but I know I can learn from them. Right. But I'm not gonna be like, yo, after this we're gonna go and chill. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not something I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Right. A lot of kids are so stuck and trying to find themselves and worried about what their little peers think about them.
Right.
That they do a dumb shit. And then that dumb shit turns into a dumb mentality. And that dumb mentality turns into a dumb lifestyle. And that lifestyle turns into the beginning of the end.
I think that's a huge problem, especially now, that we're talking about this situation. That I think younger people, like teenagers, and with all the information we have out there, I feel like kids have a harder time understanding or coming to an understanding of who they really are because of this social media climate and what their friends are doing. And so sometimes they don't have both parents at home, or sometimes you have both parents at home, but it's like destructive. There's all these different scenarios. But I really think that people need to understand that there needs to be time for the younger generation. Like people need to commit to them in ways like never before because of this environment.
Right.
They need that support. You know what I mean?
But it's hard to give support. How can I say
Where you
this?
don't know where to get it, or
Well, you don't know how to get it, but not only that, it starts at home.
Right.
I deal with a lot of kids whose parents have the mentality of what I had before I was 35. You dig what I'm saying? To the point that they even tell me, why are you filling him up, his brain up with that nonsense? Fuck that. Let him do us. That's how we do, blah, 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 blah. All that ratchet shit clapping and all that. Like,
Do you, boo-boo? Do you?
Exactly.
Every syllable.
Exactly. And I'm sitting there, and because I'm a parent myself, I have to fall back.
Yeah.
Not only because of legal repercussions, because that's the path that they're choosing. I feel bad for the kid, right? And you could tell the kid doesn't want to be a part of that, but their parents are forcing him into gang life, forcing him into that, what I call, without no judgment, welfare mentality.
Yeah.
Like, let me just get what I can get and not really put no effort into nothing, right? And it's sad.
Living in a today,
Right.
not
So-
living in tomorrow, like
so-
future.
Yeah.
Right now, I work for, I'm the program manager of the WICK Against Violence,
Okay.
which is under the umbrella of Southside United, which is lovingly known as Los Sures.
Los Sures. Yeah. Salute to Los Sures.
Yeah, salute to Los Sures, to the board, Juan Ramos, executive director of Los Sures. He's my boy, my brother from another. He's actually years ago, when I was in the work hard before I had my slip, right? And my mishap, let's call it the mishap,
Yeah.
right?
The entanglement.
Right, the entanglement. I love adjectives. Before the entanglement, right? He's even presented me awards from the city and things like that from Puerto Rican National Congress. He supported me while I was going through my entanglement, right? Like heavy. Yeah. He's a real brother. Love you, Juan. He said, yo, I need you. I know XMENTAL right now is on hold. I want you to come and run this program for me.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I got you, bro. He supported me. I got you. You know what I'm saying? And so I run the WICK Against Violence, which is a neighborhood safety coalition, an NSC, right? Okay. In a lot of boroughs around the country and the world, they have what they call cure violence organizations, right? In New York City, there's only 2 NSCs. The God Squad, that's I think in Brownsville, and us, the WIC. And what we do is we service the 90th precinct, which is in...
So 2 in all of New York City?
Yeah. All
and they're both in Brooklyn?
Both in Brooklyn. And we service the 90th precinct. We use some modalities and some pedagogy of cure violence. The way they do cure violence is a way of saying anti-gun violence.
Right.
And there's organizations that only do anti-gun violence.
Okay.
That's their lane. We do that and more.
Oh, wow.
We just finished building a pretty much, I think, it's about 20,000 square foot site.
Okay.
Where we're going to be hosting the WIC and another program that Juan was able to start called the YSC, which is Youth Services Collaboration.
Nice.
And the youth services collaboration, I'm pretty much the office manager of the site, so I have my feet in both.
Right.
Youth services collaboration is like, so I don't know if anybody who's listening or anybody here has ever been a system involved youth. And what I mean by system may be probation, right? Parole, may it be the homeless, the shelter system, foster care, and the list goes on. And the thing is, and I'm gonna talk to y'all organizations, if you don't like it, fuck off, right? I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm not gonna mention any names.
Keep it 100.
But all you culture vultures, and we all know what a vulture is, right?
Yeah.
A vulture eats off the dead. And there's a lot of organizations out there that are culture vultures. For me, means that they're eating off the dead of our community, which is they're making stacks of dough, right? They're lining their pockets off of people's misery. And what happens is system-involved youth get covered in systems. Right? They get passed on from organization to organization. Yeah, I had them for 3 months, son. It's your turn. Boom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I know as being a shorty, as a young kid, it was about consistency.
Yeah.
Right?
Structure.
Right. So when you're covered in all these systems, right? Because you get passed on, you're covered. Nobody sees you. And a lot of the kids feel like they just
Falling through the cracks.
handball getting passed off.
Yeah.
Right? YSC, the Youth Service Collaboration, is we're going to have all the systems under one roof.
Oh, wow.
That way, a court-involved youth or a system-involved youth won't get lost in the system. He's there.
Accountability.
He's there with us. She's there with us. And not only are we servicing that youth, but we're also giving resources and referrals for their whole family. Because sometimes you already know, bruh, dad is a gang involved, or dad is locked up, or dad is a fiend. Or same thing with mom, or dad can't find a job. They got no food, this and that. We're going to give all that under one roof. Not just service the youth, but the whole family, because you know it starts at home.
How is funding provided for these organizations? Because
provided
I
by
know
that?
there's a lot of defunding of programs for kids and stuff.
Right.
So.
Well, I'm going to keep it a buck. Funding from that comes from the city. We work with an office called MOCJ, Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice. And my job is to help run the program to the best of my ability. Juan's job is help me to run the program, but he also knows how to get that money for the funding. And I'm going to keep it a buck. We are not the culture vultures. And a lot of people hate on us because
You're trying to do the right thing.
we're trying to do the right thing.
And fuck up their money. That they
I'm
don't
not trying, we're not fucking up nobody. I don't hate.
They don't deserve it. Yeah, they
I don't hate
deserve
on
it.
nobody.
Right, all right.
I don't hate nobody's hustle. That's your hustle. That's your hustle. But we do the right thing. Like a couple weeks ago, we gave out close to 1,200 turkeys
Oh, wow.
for Thanksgiving, right? And also fed the community with a Thanksgiving dinner,
Nice.
right? And that's just things like just little things. But we employ 20 youth from the neighborhood.
It's
Nice.
little to you, but to them it's not.
To them, it's not, but like we employ 20 youth from the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? We give services. We have Los Sures has a pantry that feeds every Tuesday about 1,100 families.
Wow.
You dig what I'm saying? We have 48 apartment buildings. Los Sures has 48 apartment buildings, building more from the ground level up, affordable housing for people that look and sound like us. And even if you don't look and sound like us and you fit the requirement,
You need help? Come through.
they're there. They've been around for 50 years. I'm proud to
the
be a part.
Roosties in there.
I'm proud to be a part. To be a part of that organization,
that kind of work.
because it's and when Juan hit me up like, yo, I need you to do this, I was like, I got you, my brother, whatever you need. But because I know his heart is in the right place,
Right.
that Los Sures is doing it not to, there's times that my brother Juan is up all night long trying to figure out how we're gonna pay the next bills, but he figures it out and he moves this around, and like that's his thing. My thing is engaging. My thing is engaging the community. May it be the elderly. We have a senior center. We have we have a hydroponics farm. You know what I'm saying?
How does somebody get involved with something like this?
Well, the way like how I told you the story of XMENTAL, I just
You just
did
don't-
it.
yeah.
Just did it. And you can just come and say, hey, can we volunteer? And be like, sure.
Well, I got a suggestion. All right.
See?
Let me start here because we've obviously, there's so much meat on the bone, pause, that we've gone over our time limit. So I'm going
We
to say,
did. Oh, damn.
I'm going to say this.
I'm sorry. That's my fault.
Tell everybody where you can be found, all your socials.
Well, I'll be honest, since I had the mishap, I don't really fuck with social media that much.
Okay.
Right? Because I've learned that was a big part of the ego twist in my
Right.
brain, that we focus so much on that, how many likes and how many seen what we're doing, that I really don't go there. But if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me. You can email me.
Okay.
Right? And the email is rperez at losures.org. That's rperez at losures.org. Reach out to me there. Hit me up if you have ideas. You want to volunteer. You want to help out. We have a plethora of situations that we engage the community by giving back, by loving on them, and it just feels good. Like I said, when you do the right thing and you wake up the next day knowing that you did the right thing, like the blessings come. Because right now I still get people hating, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't do this for the money. Like I said, I'm not Rockefeller. I'm the other fella. But by the grace of God, I'm good. Yeah. You feel me? I can wake up and I'm not hungry, and I give back as much as I can to whoever and however, right? And I know that by doing that, not just in the past and even now, I stay blessed. You feel what I'm saying? Do the right thing, you'll stay blessed.
You're never going to please everyone.
And you're never going to please everybody.
Jesus Christ got the casting stones, right? So.
Leave Jesus out of it, son.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you just joined the show, you're shit out of luck. I knew this was going to be a good one because there's so much history. Tat has been a part, of so much. And I've known Tat for so many years. I think he was a little taller than me even. That's how long I know him. He used to be taller than me.
Yeah, we fam. We go back. We fam. He got an X on his heart, too.
Salute to the State Street crew, 410 crew, the United Nations of my friends, the Guyanese, Japanese, Jesus Christ, every kind of nationality that was on that block back then.
We got a lot of comments, man.
Yeah, for real.
Wow. Love you guys.
I want to thank everybody for coming out. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the only podcast that gives you real people telling real stories. As always, I'm your host, Mr. A.
B. Chanel.
Sally Sassong in the building. I gotta say something. Friend to the room. Robert Vaz.
Oh, salute to Rob Vaz, man.
Just got hired with the Chicago Cubs organization as a baseball hitting instructor. So,
my man.
Rob, best of luck.
Yeah, bro.
Yo, I got a couple seconds for a couple shout-outs?
Yes, sir.
First of all, I want to shout out to my worldwide X-Men crew. I love you. My Chicago X-Men crew, my X-Men in Africa, X-Men in Argentina, in Colombia, in France, X-Men all over America. Salute you. I love you. Yo, Severe, that's my X-Men general in Chicago. I love you, brother. Shout out to the WICK Against Violence. That's what we call the organization. Rondo, I see you online, brother. Love you, kid. I appreciate you, and I'm proud of you. You know what I'm saying? And to everybody that joined us, I see you here. I can't say everybody's name, but I love you guys. I'm gonna reach out to y'all later. Gladys, Bane, Millie, yo, love you guys. And to the youth out there, if there's any youth listening, check this out. If you're going through any pain, any misery, any confusion, hit me up. I got you. If I can't do it, I will find a way to do it. I will point you in the right direction because game recognizes game, and show me who you run with, and I show you who you are. And I only run with positive cats. I ain't running with no alley cats no more. You feel me? Let's go.
And to Juan at Los Sudas.
Juan, my brother.
You're gonna have to give the set a sit down. We're gonna come out to your location or do something. We wanna see what's really going on over there. Mm-hmm. But thank you everybody for coming out to the show tonight. And we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Thank you, man.
Are we off? Yo, sorry for talking so much, but I get diarrhea in the mouth.
It's a podcast.
I know that, but there was so much more we could have delved into.
No, listen.
We could do